Welcome to Home, Space and Reason, a podcast about creating a home that thrives.
Hi there, I'm Christina Browning, your host. If you know your home could be so much more than it is, I discuss home functionality, aesthetics, and automation. I'm a realtor in Portland, Oregon, and a home functionality coach. I geek out on every subject imaginable regarding your home and yard, challenging you to think of your space differently to get the most out of every square foot. I pose questions for you to think through about your space and your reason. This podcast is all positive, offering you virtual fist bumps and celebrating every win. Remember, there's no such thing as perfect, but you can still aim for your best every day. Join me on social media by searching for the handle Space and Reason. In this episode, let's discuss yard or deck functionality when it comes to relaxation with hammocks. For me personally, nothing reminds me of a relaxing vacation more than a hammock. It used to be one of those indulgences that only I had on vacation somewhere warm. Until, that is, I had a long, hard look at things that I love and enjoy, and then questioned, why couldn't I incorporate this luxury, even without trees to attach it to, in my own yard design? And so I did. I designed and my husband built what we affectionately call our hammock cabana in our tiny slice of a treeless backyard. The one small maple that resides there is nowhere near large enough to support a hammock, nor is it in the right spot anyway. The hammock cabana occupies a space that was not used for anything else and really makes the yard a place where you can relax, nap, listen to a book, and truly unwind. There's something about stretching out with the cool breeze blowing around you that doesn't compare to sitting in a chair. You're faced upward by force a bit more because of the angle of your body. And I notice more birds, more clouds, more about what the wind is doing. You're more present purely because of the way that you're sitting. Therefore, one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself is to allow space for a hammock. Whether you buy a metal support frame to sit by itself, tie it between trees, or build a structure for it is up to you. But let me tell you what a pleasure it has been having it. Every person in our family uses it. I designed one side of the cabana to feature a mounted planter. It's perfect for Mexican cigar plants because they attract hummingbirds all day long. The other end supports two shelves, one at countertop height to offer an eating area if you pull up bar stools, or it could hold blankets, books, and beverages depending on the season. The top and upper sides feature Corten steel panels from Veridec. There's patterns laser engraved through it, adding a modern feel to the structure and allowing plants to grow in and out of the design. Now let's talk about hammock choice, because if you know me or if you've listened to this podcast, and we have so many choices to consider, I had to deep dive into the details to make the best decision on a purchase. For this episode, we're going to exclude those hammocks that are better suited for camping because that's a whole different subject matter. As is true for this podcast, I'd like to focus on our homes and our yards, which also means our decks, potentially. When thinking about hammocks, my mind automatically goes to color. What color should I buy? What color sits well with your home and yard? If you're talking the yard and house holistically, the more different colors there are, the more chaotic your yard will feel. I recommend choosing a color that doesn't clash with the house, and maybe it's a dominant color already in your plantings. If your yard is lush with greenery already, maybe that's your answer. A nature-inspired green color. Not Crayola, but a muddier, more natural version. If your front door is coral, let's say, and you've planted 5 coral Queen of the Prairie perennials to complement it, perhaps a Caribbean coral and red stripe would set it all off. I've seen a Moroccan print with a tropical ocean blue background and a coral design imprinted on it. My only advice here is make your choice intentional based on what you have going on already. Don't go shopping for a hammock and pick one that's cute in the aisle at Walmart without considering your yard. What's cute in a store aisle won't read the same in your yard next to other things. Sometimes restraint is the most sophisticated design choice. Generally speaking, there are 2 kinds of hammocks, those with a spreader bar and those without. A spreader bar is the bar that runs across the top and bottom of a hammock, distributing the suspension strings evenly and giving the hammock a flatter and more open lay. I feel like this makes it appear more welcoming. I like how this type of hammock looks in photographs, whereas the kind without the spreader bar reads more as a thick line of fabric and isn't as attractive, again, in photographs. This usually isn't important to people unless you're a blogger or a social media person. You know I love to bring in bits of history when possible. For many centuries, hammocks without spreader bars were used for sleeping at night, and even when the Navy adopted them for sailors on board their ships, they stuck to the original non-spreader bar design using slightly different materials. However, it's thought that the spreader bar was added to make them look more like a bed to entice Western countries to give them a try. This seemed to work, and we saw hammocks garner popularity in the 19th and 20th centuries. The benefits of a spreader bar is that they hold the hammock open. You get a better view of your surroundings compared to a gathered end hammock where the sides can wrap you up like a cocoon. And a spreader bar gives a flatter lay no matter which angle you position yourself. This makes it easier for side sleepers to get comfortable. The benefits of a non-spreader bar hammock is they may have more of a sag and a lower center of gravity, making them more stable and less prone to tipping and flipping. Logistically, not having a spreader bar makes the hammock far easier to fold away into a small compact bag because there's no wooden or metal bars to worry about. A non-spreader bar hammock is better for back sleepers, especially if you're laying correctly, which is diagonally across the hammock and not in line with the crevice. Lastly, many professionals will tell you that a non-spreader bar hammock provides better support for your body because the hammock is free to mold to your shape. This is particularly true of cotton hammocks, which have an extra stretchiness to them. Now let's learn more about different choices of materials. Cotton hammocks are breathable and comfortable, two things you want in a hammock. However, cotton isn't very weather resistant, so if you choose this option, make sure you store your hammock indoors when anticipating any rain. Polyester hammocks are noticeably durable and weather resistant, and while they may not bring the fuzzy feeling that cotton hammocks do, they're still comfortable enough to make you feel like you're floating. Instead of having a flat piece of fabric, rope hammocks can stretch to your liking as you rest. Quilted hammocks have a plush layer in the center for extra comfort. Plus, they're made from weather-resistant fabrics that won't fade in the sun or develop mildew while outside. These hammocks dry quickly, making them great for poolside or lakeside use. Mayan hammocks are non-spreader bar hammocks that are typically hand-woven by artisans using brightly colored strings. They tend to be loosely woven with a diamond weave for breathability, plus they cocoon when inside, making for comfortable hanging and sleeping. Brazilian hammocks are similar to Mayan hammocks. However, the main difference is that the weave of a Mayan hammock is more similar to a fishnet, while a Brazilian hammock is made on a loom and is more tightly woven. Brazilian hammocks don't have spreader bars. Instead, they have cotton fabric gathered at both ends and hand crocheted lace along the edges. That makes them beautiful. Now grab a pencil and a scrap piece of paper and let's think about some questions to ask yourself about your space and your reason. Question number 1, what will my dominant activity be? Some like to snooze while others like to lounge. If you're planning to sleep, consider choosing a hammock with no spreader bar. If you want a hammock for lounging by the pool or in the backyard, hammocks with spreader bars and stands are the way to go. Also, hammock chairs can be an option because they can be suspended from a porch beam, tree branch, or a stand. Question number 2, what size do I need? If you know where you generally plan on keeping your hammock, record some measurements. Specifically determine the length, width, and height of the space you have. But also, you'll want to decide how many people will use the hammock at once, and therefore, the weight it needs to hold. They're typically in either sizes single, double, or family size options. Single hammocks are designed to be large enough for one adult with a width of 4 to 5 feet and a weight capacity ranging from about 250 to 400 pounds. Double hammocks are large enough to comfortably fit 2 adults with a width of 5 to 6 feet. These hammocks are also strong enough to support the weight of 2 adults, and typical capacity is about 400 to 500 pounds. But lighter double hammocks will have a weight capacity near 350 pounds. You may choose a double hammock for single person use, as the extra room leads to a more comfortable experience. Extra large hammocks for sale are strong enough to hold 3 or more people, depending on their combined weight. Some extra large hammocks can hold more than 800 pounds. Question number 3. Where will my hammock go? Where you plan to use your hammock will determine the type of suspension you use. Figure out where you want to enjoy your yard from what vantage point, and then start writing some things down. Iron out your thoughts, scratch stuff out. Take some measurements of the space you have versus the space you need for the hammock support you're thinking of. Keep tweaking it until you iron out your plan. Think about my most favorite hammock hack when you're considering where your hammock goes. And that is to plant hummingbird-friendly flowers and honeysuckle or jasmine right near where this is going to be to attract wildlife and have a natural scent growing while you relax straight from nature. Question number 4. Am I the kind of person who always says, I wish I had time to read more? If so, maybe an Amazon Audible subscription is for you, or any kind of Audible subscription for that matter. Each month you're charged a small preset amount that gives you a credit for an audiobook. Earbuds and an Audible subscription is the perfect combination to go with your hammock. Considering the entire experience, you'll want a spot for your beverage. Get a drink holder that holds 2 beverages that stabs into the ground with a stake so you can put it wherever you need it, whenever you want it, but also you can bring it in for the winter too. I bought ours from a maker on Etsy, and I'll include a link in the show notes. It holds 2 drinks. Perhaps some tiki torches could complete your ambiance. There are solar kinds now that don't produce a real flame and can be safer with high winds near. The bulbs in them, though, look like real flames, so you get all the goodness of a real tropical vacation vibe. When you wake up tomorrow morning, do something you love for the first bit, even if it's only for a couple of minutes. Whether it's read or meditate, have some tea, just ease into your day. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Keep taking some sort of action every day, and one day you'll look back and notice how far you've come. An episode that goes with this one so well is episode 26. How much outdoor space do you even have to work with? Would you say you spend a lot of time out there, or a little time, or no time? Why is that? Let's deep dive into thoughts and planning about your outdoor space and your reason. This episode includes a list of 35 ideas for your outdoor spaces too. So I got an email from a client the other day. He was a single guy, newly divorced a couple of years ago, still has a few kids in the house, and he's like, I think it's time for me to remodel. He's absolutely capable of hiring all the people to do the things he's not comfortable with. So, sort of being his own general contractor. But he said, I need help picking the tile. Is there anything I have forgotten or something I need to know that once I'm done, I wish I would have asked? So I spent 1 hour with him, And I said, "Where are you shopping?" He told me where he's getting his tile and flooring from. And separately, he told me where he was getting his vanity from. And so I put together a vision board for him. And in 1 hour, he said, "This is amazing. It's so beautiful." And so he now has marching orders. He can go in there with confidence, knowing the choices he's making are beautiful and they fit together as a whole. So the paint and the vanity and the tile and the flooring and the lighting all together on one sheet makes sense. It makes visual sense. This gave him confidence to put this project together, and it was only 1 hour of my time. So if you're unsure about making aesthetic choices, please shoot me an email, get on my calendar. There's a link in the show notes. I'd love to help. I've got another client who is buying a condo. She's moving here from Montana, and I am going to buy her a mat for her front door because the one that was there was gross and old and has seen way too many winters. And I was just thinking, I need to listen to my own episode on front door mats. Episode 39 is all about front door mats. Does it thoughtfully complement the aesthetic of your entire exterior? Does it speak about the people who live there and their values or taste? What is the reason behind your choice of your front door mat? Do you want to make people laugh or embrace the mid-century modern vibe based on the architecture of your home? Let's talk about front door mats by listening to episode 39. Reviews make a big difference for a podcaster. I wish they didn't, but alas, I need your help. Let your voice be heard. If you're enjoying this, would you take a few seconds and give this podcast a quick review? I am not just a home functionality coach. I'm also a realtor. So if you know someone in the market to buy or sell, kindly send them my way. The finest compliment I could receive is the confidence of your referral. Make this week so fantastic. Set yourself up for success. Put the items you want to complete on a Post-it in an obvious spot and hold yourself accountable. It feels so good. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you back here next time.